Hi, Rishikesh. Thank you so much for being part of this Talk with Bajaj podcast series. Welcome to this session.
Thank you so much, Shweta. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. And today's topic is quite very interesting. It is very booming right now, AI for customer experience. I want to know about you, Rishikesh. Like, tell everyone your story.
Sure. Thanks. I think that would a great way to start. I need to make my career in this domain. While I was doing my graduation, I thought, let me do a master's in marketing. That, the graduation in mathematics and a marketing degree would help me. And I would say, yes, it has helped me a lot. I started my career with one of the research companies in Mumbai. And the idea that time was to just understand what are the consumers saying, what are their sentiments, what are their perception like. And I think that time I'm going back to 2004. We had not heard of anything like small data, big data, analytics. Yeah, analytics, of course, but not AI. And so my journey started then. And I was more looking at, I would say primary research, where you go back to the consumer, depending on the client's objective. And typically you design a well-structured interview. So when I say you go back to the client, it could be a face-to-face interview like we are doing this call, but I am prompted with well-defined questions, or it could be with the help of telephonic interviews. These were the only two. You can understand that was the era where there were no smartphones. Email address was limited, and Gmail had not done so much of inroad. So I started my career with that. Less of automation, zero digital transformation. So that's where we started, and we used to wait, I remember, for couriers to come from different representative centers in India just to get the data back to the office. And when I say data, this is in pen and paper. Somebody would take pains to sit overnight, transfer it into more of a Excel or SPSS, and that's how my journey started. Sometime in 2010, I had the opportunity to move to Singapore, and I was working with Standard Chartered Bank, one of the known multinational banks. And the idea hence was that with that experience, how is it that I could look at a multi-country, 22-country study? And that's where I was first exposed, I would say, to the concept of customer experience, customer satisfaction, or loyalty. And then there has been no looking back. So after that, I have worked with Ipsos, I've worked with Axis Bank, very recently with Qualtrics, and all these organizations. What I was more looking at, as you rightly said, how can I add value to our clients who in turn will add value to their customers in terms of either driving customer centricity or having a customer centric approach in terms of the culture or the products and offering. So that's been my journey, been learning throughout, and it's been exciting. So that's how I would wrap it up. Yeah.
Great, Rishikesh. I can see you have, lots of experience in this. You found customer experience in your journey, and I believe customer experience is one of the important key asset of any company. Because if a company can make their customer experience so good, repetitive customers is so easy for them. And
Absolutely.
right. And I want to know from you, like, why AI? Like now AI is booming in technology. Every now and then new technology will come. Again, next something advanced will come. And human
Right.
always be irreplaceable. We always need to be adaptable, upgrade our skill set. So why AI for customer service and how it is replacing, customer service people or their jobs? How effective?
Sure. I'll take a little step back before I answer that because it is, quite necessary to, I mean, I look at the title of our discussion today, and I think three important terms to kind of look at. One is the customer experience. The
Yeah.
other is a support function, customer support function. And then third, what you rightly touched upon, AI. So for me, while a little bookish definition would say customer experience is like the sum total of all the interaction a customer has with the brand at the various touch points or channel. I personally feel it's all about creating those remarkable memories. I mean, honestly, all our listeners might not remember everything that we speak for the next hour or so, but at the end, how you and me made them feel will remain in their minds for maybe the next 3 years also. So that's where I look at customer experience to start with, saying that how do I create those wow moments, those remarkable memories in their mind? Now, customer support is, as the word says, support or success, I would say, is more towards that aspect of not talking very strategic in terms of creating remarkable memories. Now, customer support is actually putting it in action, right? So it might be that a customer wants to connect with me as a brand. Let's say for a query, right? I just have a query saying I want to change my address. How do I do that, right? It's a query. It's not a complaint. A complaint could be that, it's been 2 days. I had flagged off saying my broadband isn't working and nobody's attending to it. So that for me is a little complaint where maybe depending on the complexity of the situation, the customer will be frustrated or irritated. And then comes more of a query request. More in terms of request would be that I'm shifting the city. I want someone to come and assist me to take down the DTH and then again make the team available wherever I go to the new city. I'll get my house after a month, right? Because first month my office is putting me at their expense. So it'll take some time. So typically I look at it right from not only creating memorable memories that I said at a very strategic level, at a very customer support level where AI comes into picture is that how can I support the customer, whether it is their query, a simple query, request or resolution. Now there are two aspects to it. One, if I do it in the very first call, when I say a call, it could be a visit to outlet, it could be a call to the contact center. That is called the first time resolution. And if I do that, even you and me can understand that I made a call, they understood me, they empathize with me, and they gave me the solution there itself, right? Very good experience because I do not have the trouble of calling them back or waiting for their call that I'll speak to my senior and come back to you. So there, one important metric is how can I increase the first time resolution? And second is how can I decrease the, let's say the call time or the wait time at the branch, right? In person if I'm going. So that's where AI has come into picture, if you ask me, in terms of first time resolution. AI looks at an end-to-end customer journey orchestration, right? So it looks at what is happening right now. So I call it where we are today, and where we want to be is what a customer journey will tell me, saying that if these pain points, if these delay areas can be handled with technology better, then it's always good because we are maybe downsizing the wait time, right? So that's where I would say that depending upon how you look at AI, my idea is that I need to make the customer's life easy. That's how I put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like reducing the tact, turnaround time of people and AI where help. I believe right now AI humanizing is very common. People,
Mhm.
companies are using agents. Like
Right.
everything is on hand. If when you are talking with someone, you don't know whether it's human or not human. It's so real. The voice is so real. The tonality, pace, and also understanding human emotions, psychology wise. So why humanizing AI? What do you think? Like how it's going and what vision you have? What is in future?
Right, right. I think we aren't there yet, but a good amount of progress has been done. I mean, you spoke about tonality or the fact that I need to do just a critical thinking like a human and not give one-line answers that are there in my, manual. But I'll give you an example. In fact, that's what we all think, saying that only when I approach a brand, how can they think human and add the human element to it? I'll give a very good example of a food delivery app that I've been ordering for the last, let's say, 7, 8 years, right? And of course, during the pandemic, the frequency did go up for obvious reasons. But this app thinks ahead of the time, and that's where they are looking at AI. Not to even wait till the extent of a customer connects with you and then you want to kind of give them a solution, or you want, as you rightly said, make the TAT easier. I'll tell you what they have done, right? And even you must have tried them sometime. If I place an, let's say I go to the app, firstly, what they have done is they have looked at the genres of food items which are ordered more frequently. So if it's a biryani followed by a Chinese, by a burger or a pizza, you have it very upfront. So when you talk about humanizing, it is not only the tonality or anything. just thinking like a human, saying, if I were to meet my friend, these are the 4 or 5 genres of food that is on our top of the mind. So why not have it upfront on the app, just below the search bar in the app? So that's one element of just thinking like a human. Second element is that, let's say I select a food item, I place it in the card, I make the bill payment, etc. Now they've even understood how the customer psyche is. Once I place the order, I get a big tick on the screen saying payment received. That gives me first level of assurance that the brand has received my payment, because it has already hit my OTP and the bank balance or the credit card. So that's where anxiety number one starts, right? The brand has very well thought, what will I do otherwise? Go on the app, look at the order section, and I'll say, is the payment done? No, they are thinking ahead. They give me a big screen just with a tick saying that we have received your payment. Again, thinking about anxiety too. What is the anxiety? Maybe the app has got the payment, but has the delivery, or rather the restaurant started making food or not? That's like always anxiety, right? Did they get it, or is the money with the app and then they don't know, they are not initiated? So they send me a pop-up within 3-4 minutes, I have seen, saying that the restaurant has accepted the offer. Then comes anxiety three, which they address very well, saying that your delivery partner is Mr. XYZ and they would be on their way to collect the order. And then they collect it, and then they kind of show me again saying that it's a minute away. Now I stay in a gated community, so I know I have to go and stand near the intercom. Very soon the call will come, and then I get the delivered. Now, if you look at it, if this was not so much thought about, as you rightly said, this is all AI at the back end, and they're trying to humanize it, if you ask me. If not, believe me, what would I do at every 20 seconds or maybe 2 minutes? Go on the app, go to the map, checking where is he, where has he reached, does he need some instructions from me, because sometimes places are difficult to find in metro, etc. So just to add to what you rightly said, wherever we can think as human, not only in terms of, let's say, not sounding robotic, but sounding human, but the entire end-to-end journey, right from order. Because see, there are various partners involved, right? One is the app, one is the bill desk, which is a third party again. Then there is a OTP that should come. So the telecom company is also involved. If I'm out of range, then I don't get the OTP. How do I process the payment? And there is an in-person delivery person also, right? Who's touching base with me. That's why I started by saying there are different channels and we need to see how seamless it is. So I think AI has done that to a great extent, where in this example, I can see that there is only human interaction between the delivery boy and me. Other than that, they have tried to entirely automate the process and keep the customer also engaged at every stage, so that that anxiety actually gets into moments of reasons to write to the customer, like the pop-up I said. So I think that's what brands are doing. And I really appreciate that, saying that how can we try to humanize? Otherwise, at the back end, these are all algorithms, right? So I think that's a very well, example that comes to my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very great example, and it's help delivery, in 10 minutes, and everyone is looking forward for that. I can see algorithms are running now live, a dopamine release is there, like earlier we are like, okay, next day we will get the parcel. Now, why not 5 minutes? Why not instantly? Why not now only? And AI makes it so easy. If we talk about customer experience, different countries have different customer experience. I believe China, Japan, these countries, Singapore, these countries have a different set standard levels of this. And so what do you think, like what different countries can do to improve their, even in India, how we can improve our customer experience more?
Well, I have a limited knowledge, to be honest. I worked just 3 years in Singapore and another sometime in Malaysia. But yeah, I have a lot of clients in the APAC. What I see and observe is that first point, India is not behind the curve. I can give you that assurance. So if you feel any of the country, either in APAC or EMEA, or even if it's North America, Canada, wherever we look at, India understands the fact that whether it is acquisition or retention of the customer, CX is very important. And that's where we have also started doing a meeting where we are actually keeping a chair empty and saying that if the customer was in the room, would this charges work for them? Or we need to be more transparent. It is not always about reducing charges. Even the customers know that. Otherwise, how will I do business? But if I'm more transparent in communicating to them, they accept the charges because it was with their permission. We kind of inform them. So that's where these strategies come into picture, saying that how do I look at it from country to country? And honestly, having worked in I think Singapore, the only difference I saw was that way back in 2010 there was a lot of automation. I mean, those days we were not talking about AI, but we are talking about workflow automation. Or I was handling 22 countries reporting for SME banking as well as retail. So that's eventually 44 reports to be sent out every 90 days. So the idea was, how can I use softwares in that I'm talking about 15 years back, which can, when there was no Tableau, no Power BI, but with the help of algorithms, pick up the latest quarter data from Excel and do away with the last quarter, and the PPT used to get refreshed. So a researcher's job was only to then not look at making charts because these are automated, but maybe just commenting on what the data is saying, what next, what are the recommendations. So it was humanly possible for a team of just three of us to make 44 reports, and I'm discounting Saturday, Sunday, right? So it's not 90 days actually. So I think that's the only place where I felt that they were ahead of the curve. But having said that, India has now picked up. There are various brands. I don't want to name any brand, but whether it is a telecom sector in India, whether it is banking, insurance, we do very well understand. I mean, insurance does understand very well that the claim process will make or break the journey, not only the onboarding. And there are so many things that are done to streamline the process. So I don't think, uh, I mean, India is anywhere behind. And there are use cases, of course, which I can think of in a Hong Kong or a Singapore that are different from our country, but nothing stark difference that I can see. Yeah.
Great answer. I can see, it's an instant question and you answered it very well.
Yeah.
And you can say here that customer experience and humanizing it. It's like
Mhm.
having a synergy with human. As you mentioned, whole process can be automated. Only one interaction is with the delivery boy, human delivery boy, right? Here, what is the job loss rate for in the industry of customer experience? You're expert here. Like people who work in customer experience or telecalling, they have certain, like lots of people. I think this sector is like that. Lots of people are doing job in this. So, what is the job loss rate here, and how they need to upskill to be in the industry?
Right, right. One thing I would like to recommend. My boss always used to say, when anyone calls you expert, just say I'm a professional or I'm a practitioner, because then an expert starts learning. So I feel I'm a practitioner. I will put it that way because we are all learning daily. But to answer you, I feel the way I look at it is that, let's say my grandfather had a tally system or a calculator, right? Maybe my father was using Excel, and we are more learners who are more looking at a dashboard or a Power BI or a Tableau. So the thing I'm going to give with this example is that there will not surely be job losses as such, but I think if you ask me how, if I mean, there was a time when I remember my grandfather's era where everybody used to enroll for typing classes, and the typing speed had to be XYZ to be able to get as a steno or whatever. Now, if you ask me, those jobs are not there, right? So I'm not saying job loss is happening and everybody will be out of the job market and economy, right? I mean, typewriters have been replaced with a keyboard. And I think more we are looking at critical thinking as a tool or as a skill set, or rather than how fast can I type on this laptop, right? I can go to a Copilot and just make the entire presentation if I want. So the idea is to look at the Copilot outputs and decide if one, this slide is making sense. And if it is, then I retain. If not, maybe I need to add something from my slide. So honestly, I feel it is more like a technology tool, which is not going to take away the jobs if you have the other skill sets. But the idea is that how can I maybe use a chat GPT, right? Or a Copilot, or it could be the Gemini thing. And how can I add value to what they make? So what I normally do is that maybe I consider that as a 65, 70% of the base, and some data which is sensitive to my organization, I don't want to upload it. I will look at it from my own dashboard, which is on the cloud. We have a fireworks in place, etc. And then I will add some of the rest 30% there, right? So now if you ask me, maybe I was making 100% of the PPT PowerPoint deck to present to the top management 10 years back. Now I'm maybe focusing on the value add of the 30%. Is my job gone? No, but I have learned the skills of AI, right? So I mean, I don't think any of the jobs will go. If it's only that, if I say that, no, I'll make the PowerPoint deck of 20 slides the age-old way, I'll be slow, right? Somebody else will replace me because they are faster. So I think it's a mindset that we need to still have our creativity, creative thinking in place and take the benefits of AI rather than being scared that they will take away my job.
I mean, it's an amazing answer you have given, with a very great example, and it's
I'm glad.
very valuable. I can say that. So here, if for customer experience, when we look at one picture coming to my mind that we need to upskill, right? Which
Mhm.
we already shared. Now, in AI, when we talk about customer experience, lots of people usually don't understand. They understand that customer experience is very simple job. You just and what one area in which still humans can do better than AI? What do you think?
I think one is in the executive buy-in, right? I start with that. When what I mean by executive buy-in is either the vision or strategy, where I have to go back to the CX, so maybe to the CFO to kind of get some funds for them for a new project that I am proposing, and the project could be shifting from a contact center, some of our employees to a chatbot, which is customer facing. So it's a digital transformation, but the project sanctioning, I mean, go ahead, green signal will be given by the CEO or the business head. And the other part would be the funds, which is by the CFO. I don't see, because this is critical thinking, right? Even the CFO will think, saying, show me the ROI, return on investments that we are doing. Show me how soon can we have an internal rate of return or we can break even because of this. If AI were to kind of look at it, maybe the AI can just show various scenarios to the CFO, but after all, the decision making is in his or her hands. So I think I call it executive buying, saying that how can I take a buying from the seniors? So that's one place where I feel AI algorithm or even advanced Gen AI, even if I look at a MCP, like a model concept protocol, or more what we are looking at RAG, which is retrieval augmented generative, all these are parts of the Gen AI, which is for the agentic AI. I don't think they can do that, right? Second, I mean, they can throw options on my screen, but after all, I'm going to be the decision maker if I'm the CXO. The second is the culture, right? And that's where, again, it comes top down. The HR helps facilitate it. The managers help, maintain it. So culture to me, like attitude, beliefs, or that belief system is again something I don't think, again, AI has a capability there yet. Interesting times, we'll have to see. And the third is when, as a human, we are displaying some kind of empathy to the customer, saying, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. If I were in your place, I would have felt bad. Let me check what can I do. Now, I'm not sympathizing, but I'm just empathizing with the customer, saying, oh, if this would have happened to you, I understand the frustration level. Can you just hold on for some time? Or giving them some kind of answer, which is critical thinking. So these are some of the areas that I understand. And again, when I say that, I just got a newsletter this morning saying that Claude has come up with a new technology where they can even remember what was the previous prompts we put. Earlier, it was always that I put a new prompt and it is taken as a first time, right? Now, so when I'm talking today to you on, let's say, 21st of August, I feel these are some of the areas where AI hasn't touched upon. Very dynamic, interesting times. Maybe if you ask me this question after a month, I don't know what AI might have been able to do, right? But as of today, I think executive buying, the culture, the front office staff training, all this is very much where a human has an upper edge still. Still, I would say.
Yes, I think future ahead, and you mentioned it very right that culture, empathy, here human can, be ahead of AI. And how you look like a company, if as a company owner, if I want to train my team on customer experience, and what tools they should learn, what courses or any learning materials you suggest them.
Yeah. Firstly, I would say every organization either has some service quality principles, right? It could be that my customer trusts me. And how do I create trust? According to me, there are various definitions and ways, but one of them is consistently delivering on your brand promise. So whatever your brand promise is, if you consistently deliver on that, and I see brands like Tata in India or Amazon globally who have stuck to that, saying that it is not one time that we deliver. It's like a cricketer who delivers a match winning performance every time. Otherwise, we feel that, oh, they just perform once or twice, right? So we don't want to be on that. We want to be Mr. Dependable or the wall. So that's where I look at it, saying that how can I, kind of build that trust? So this is one service principle, and this is the most important, because if it's bank, all the more, because I'm trusting you with my money, right? So I think when it comes to tools and techniques, first we should look at the service principles, either that the brand has laid down, and then I look at tools. How can I enhance trust? How can I, kind of build that trust with technology? Or there are a lot of frameworks in the market, right? I mean, I have done a in CX from Ireland, Dublin, and this is called the CX Academy. So they have a 5 point framework or a pillars, how you can bond better with the customer. And one of the pillar I really like is that it's okay if a brand makes mistake, but we should be resilient enough to go back and, solve it for the customer. So once I have this understanding, then I will understand what are the different tools that are there. It could be tools like automation, but most probably when we are talking about Gen AI, I am again little limited knowledge, but what I still see is two ways. One is a customer facing chatbot. So if I can think of, maybe sticking still to the food example or food delivery example, why does a customer write to me? One is my order is delayed. Where is my delivery partner? So they have that pre-populated. I don't have to type. Or it could be that my food packet is missing. I mean, I didn't get the delivery only, but your delivery partner ticked a yes. Or I received 3 items. I had ordered for 5, so I want a refund for the rest. Or what is the status of my refund, right? You can think of any e-commerce or any transaction, and these are very, very valid. So I think tools, if you say, or techniques, I will have to churn a lot of data saying what is the reasons why a customer writes back to me, calls me, or ask me queries, service resolution, whatever, so that I make their life again easy, saying these are pre-populated. So what are the themes? What are the sub themes? Can I use some kind of earlier contact center recordings or a transcripts and do sentiment analysis, saying what are the frustration points? Even in research, we look at a peak and an end rule, where the peak might be a wow experience or the peak might be very negative, and of course the end experience that I remember. So the tools that we will have to look at will need to have some of these capabilities, saying how can I automate? I talked about customer journey mapping. I remember it used to be a tedious task where we used to put up a chart paper on the wall, be at the client's office, and then putting post-it different colors from purple to yellow, saying this is how, let's say, the entire journey is, right from going to an airport to getting the boarding pass to security check to dropping the baggage, and then the flight, in-flight entertainment, all that, and then waiting at the destination at the conveyor belt to get my luggage, and then I look at booking a cab because I'm in another city, I don't have my car. So I think the airlines is the most complex journey that I have seen, because there are so many parties and so much of expectation. So there, if I can use some kind of tools which can help me automate, right? I mean, one thing that I am a big fan of is DigiYatra. If I put my Aadhaar there and I one time register and I put my boarding pass, last time I actually put a stopwatch, and end to end, I was at my gate in like 18 flat minutes in a domestic airport. This is wow, right? I mean, I had never thought of that earlier. So that's where I will go back, saying before I got into tools or techniques, I will first understand what is the customer journey, what are our service principles, and then look at what tool is right fitted for us. So not that I'm trying to not answer you, but I think that's the process I would follow.
It's very important too, because when you understand the customer experience journey, when you understand what the requirement of your company, then you are able to help your team better in the right direction. Yes.
Yep, you said it well. Yep.
Yes. And any one story you want to share, which is a big impact, which has done in customer experience, like any transformational story where you have seen like AI and humans together made a big impact, and your training journey anywhere.
Sure, sure. I think it was also a learning process for me, as you rightly said, something I will pick up from this April, May. I was working with a healthcare client, and the idea was I think they had a 140, 145 member contact center team. Again, now, as you rightly said, that there were no job losses, but we wanted to shift these into some kind of back office rather than just into the BPO business. So what we did was we identified again, two things. One is a customer facing chatbot. So we put the chatbot on their, and this is for a hospital, right? On their, I would say, a website itself, saying that what is the reason that they call, right? They call up and they would say that I have a backache. I want to meet some doctor. Whom should I? And maybe there is something known as KB, which is knowledge base. The person out of those 140, 145 contact center will refer to it and say, okay, if it's a backache, then maybe it's a spine doctor or maybe it's an orthopedic doctor, right? A surgeon is not required because it's not a surgery. And then they would say, this is where you want to meet. And then having said that, they would say Monday, 4 o'clock slot is available with Mr. XYZ and Mr. ABC is available on Thursday morning at 11. So you want in the evening slot, morning slot. So the first idea was to understand all these things. I'm just taking one example, but there are so many reasons why you would need a doctor or just a medical care. And then we tried to kind of do two things. One is put this knowledge base into the chatbot itself, saying that how can they interact. And once they interact, we could see that from a 140 member team, they reduced it straight away to like a 37 member team, right? 35, 37. Now, one is we could do that. So I could prove the ROI saying that there is an investment and it is expensive for Gen AI or agentic AI. And there is also a maintenance cost, but in the long run, maybe these reduction in the staff, dialers not needed, so much of space not needed, overhead cost, real estate cost, all that is saved. So one was going back again and explaining the ROI. The other thing we did was one is this automation for a customer also rather than dialing the number, holding on to listening to the music, all that you are doing it online, right? The second is what we did is more called a engineer assist. Engineering assist is more like an engineer who has this kind of a screen that we all are looking at. And let's say half of the screen, when there is a complex query and the chatbot is not able to answer, that's where these 35, 37 experts are coming into picture. They can actually see the transcript. They can understand that where the chatbot got stuck. And hence the chatbot wrote one line saying, I'm transferring you to a human agent. What is the discussion up till now rather than the customer having to, repeat everything and then kind of understanding saying that having heard that, where can I start now and give a quick solution? So on the left hand side was the transcript, what has happened till now, why before the call is being transferred to me. And on the right hand side, there was another system which was actually giving answers to me saying maybe the customer is looking at this or this, ask this question and give the answer. So now I'm not running here and there for an answer. Even the answer is being prompted to me. So this is a good example where I saw that completely human are not done away with. We still retain, if I could say, around 20-25% of the staff for complex query resolution, and the rest was automated. Ultimately, we not only we saw cost savings, but the calls which never came to the contact center, we used to ask them to rate it later, the customers, and the customer satisfaction scores were also increasing. So as you said some time back, the TAT is less. I do not have to call a human and talk to them. And plus the CSAT scores are good. So again, I will look at multiple metrics, right? It's not only about ROI, but if the satisfaction is also good, then I would rather continue with these kind of setup. But again, we did park, as I said, 20% of the contact center, and we are observing if things go well by December, then we will keep this. Otherwise, we'll have to think, do we need some more humans again? So yeah, it's a learning experience, right?
Very fascinating. I can say, like in this way, humans also are there, AI also there. It's a complex for complex query. Humans are there, and for everything, I think it is helpful to make customer experience very easy. Thank you so much, Rishikesh, for this amazing insights. I can say it's the most valuable session I ever had in customer experience, where you have shared end to end, like experience you mentioned at the start, you have provided that in this session. And uh, really valuable. And I can say when we see customer experience journey, uh, from end to end, what tools needed, what knowledge needed, and how we can reduce the TAT and different ROI, how we can increase that. You have very well shared. So, how if someone want to contact you, want to reach out to you, how they can reach out to you?
Uh, I think as we are talking about technology, I think LinkedIn is a great tool that I'm always online. So they can hit me up on LinkedIn, they can drop me a message, add me there. I think that's the only app I check at least 7 to 8 times a day, not a week. So I'm quite active there. The other is that I even write newsletters on LinkedIn again. So I have CX Musings as a newsletter. So I've put whatever we spoke, most of the some questions were new, so even I had to think for a minute when you asked me that. But the rest, like how to calculate. I mean, I didn't touch upon how to calculate the ROI of the CX initiatives, right? It could be when we are making money to the company as well as when we are saving some money. When I talked about the US healthcare example, so those kind of articles are there. So I think that's the best way to connect. Or I'm sure they have your connect and you can pass it on to me. Even that works very well.
Thank you so much.